Yo! Video games.
What up, dudes? It's Matt from YoVideogames, and now that 2015 has rolled around, I figured it's about time we started looking forward to the future and getting hyped for what this year's releases will bring us. Sadly, a lot of these games were on a previous video I did over a year ago, the most hyped next-gen exclusives, and it's kind of sucks that they're still not out. But I think now that we're getting into this year, it looks pretty likely that all these titles are going to make it out this year. At least that's what I really hope, because I really don't want to make a 2016 list and have these same games on it. With that being said, let's jump right in. Number 4 is Bloodborne. Now, I like Dark Souls, but I don't love it. I think a problem might be that I spent a little too much time with Dark Souls 2 and not enough time with Dark Souls 1, because even though I only spent an hour or two with Dark Souls 1, I actually enjoyed it more than my time with Dark Souls 2. Not that Dark Souls 2 is bad, it's just they're clunky. And the graphics were kind of meh to me. I just didn't really feel the atmosphere so much. However, Bloodborne seems to fix a lot of issues I had with the games, namely the block and swing mechanics and some of the more blandish looking atmospheres. Now don't get me wrong, there's definitely some gorgeous looking areas in Dark Souls 2, but there's plenty of boring looking areas as well. Bloodborne, on the other hand, looks to be exactly what I wanted with the order and that I'm not getting. I love the weird, creepy, gothic Victorian setting. I think that's really cool. I think the monster designs look really fantastic, and I really think the flow and movement of the game seems to be a big improvement. I also like the fact that they're emphasizing more of a dodge and maneuvering mechanic rather than a strong defense block with the shield mechanic. I'm digging this look, and the co-op sounds pretty cool. I hope it's a lot better than the co-op in Dark Souls 2, which in my mind is a kind of a train wreck to set up. But that being said, Bloodborne looks like a really fun game. It's definitely one we're going to be playing. It's one I'm excited about, actually, and I can't wait to get into this really awesome looking gothic horror setting. Number 3 on my list is Rime. I've talked a lot about Rime, I've made Rime videos, and what's really cool about it is a lot of what I speculated in the last Rime breakdown trailer was actually true. That tower is the starting point. It's your first major quest, but it is only the beginning of the adventure of the game. And what's more exciting is that it's not just the one island in Rime, but actually multiple islands in Rime. I think there's 5 to be exact, and they represent different stages of grief. The premise still sounds really great, and I really hope that it doesn't get too bogged down in too much narrative-driven text or cutscene stuff, and I don't think it will. And I'm excited by what I'm seeing so far, because it looks like you playing the game is what drives the story forward, not going from cutscene to cutscene. Again, it's a beautiful-looking game. We still haven't really heard any of the music yet, even though it's being done by the composer of Silent Hill, so it's kind of a bummer not to have heard anything yet. But I still have faith that this game is going to turn out pretty freaking awesome, and I can't wait for it. This is going to be the game that gets me to buy a PS4. I know it's going to come out after Bloodborne, but I'm probably going to pick it up when this game launches. To me, this game looks like it's putting together everything I love in video games, which is exploration, adventure, and just getting lost in a game world. And this time, we don't even have to worry about combat. And I'm still pretty glad about that decision. I think that having a shitty combat, just to have a shitty combat system in there, is a waste of time. I actually don't mind them gutting out the combat. That being said, I do think there will be some sort of attack mechanism in the game. There'll be some way to ward off other animals, other creatures, other spirits. I don't believe them when they say there's going to be no combat. I think what that means is fighting is not a part of this game. You'll have methods and means to defend yourself or get things to go away or get away from things, but I don't truly believe that this game will be completely devoid of any sort of hitting or defense or something of that nature. Number 2! The Legend of Zelda for Wii U. A lot of people think this game won't come out this year. I'm pretty sure it will, because Nintendo doesn't have anything else big for the next holiday season. A lot of people might say, oh, but Star Fox is big, and Yoshi's big, and all these other things. You know what? Those games don't sell. You go back in time, you look at the sales of the Star Fox franchise, of the exclusive Yoshi game franchises, they're good. They're not great. They're not the kind of game you release at the end of the year that's going to be your big Q4 pusher. They're not Smash Brothers, they're not Mario Kart, they're not a new Mario game in general. Now, that says nothing to the quality of those games. They're absolutely fantastic games. I'm sure when we see more of them, I'll be a lot more excited. But Nintendo has to release Zelda at the end of the year, and they're going to release Zelda at the end of the year, and they're pretty sure they're going to release Zelda at the end of the year. This is going to be November 2015, and at first I was just like, oh, cool, it looks pretty. But now that we've actually seen more of the game, I'm actually more excited, because it seems they're really sticking to the idea of we're going to make a big open world Zelda game. It's something they've sort of been shying away from ever since the end of Twilight Princess, but I'm really happy to see them decide that maybe that wasn't the best course of action. So we're finally getting a big, giant, epic Zelda game. I can't wait to see the diversity of locations. I can't wait to just roam across the map. That's something that I haven't been able to say I've been excited about in a Zelda game for many years. I just want to roam across the world, and we're finally going to get something that appeases that itch in me with Zelda on the Wii U later this year. And of course, my #1 game for 2015 is Xenoblade X. Yeah, I really was hoping this game was going to come out last year, but it didn't. So we're going to have to buy it this year. But that's okay, because the game looks fantastic. And as the director has been explaining on the Twitter account, they've actually hired tons and tons of outside artists to come in and design different factions of the game. You got people he hired specifically for the mechs. You have different artists for different races in the game, so that each one of them are independently drawn up and conceptualized so that they actually do appear truly foreign and alien to the other. I actually really like this idea, because this game is supposed to be about a group of humans who have to flee Earth as it's destroyed and end up stranded on a completely new planet that they try to not terraform but turn into their new homeworld. It's going to be really cool to see multiple different alien races, and we haven't seen a lot of that yet in the trailers, just tiny glimpses here and there, but I'm excited when it all comes together and we do get to see them. Sadly, I think the alien races look a lot better than the human characters right now. I think the humans are kind of, I don't know, ugly, but whatever. It's going to have a totally created character slot, so I'll spend some time making sure I can make the most beautiful girl that I can, and hopefully I'll be joining you guys in the game world as well. Now, this game is actually coming out soon in Japan. It's coming out in spring, and guess what? I'm buying it. I'm buying the Japanese version. I'm going to buy the American version. I waited too goddamn long for this game. I'm not going to sit there and wait for it any longer, because Nintendo's too fucking lazy and doesn't have enough foresight to get this shit globally done and translated for a worldwide release. Fuck them. I'm buying it early, and I don't give a damn. So I hope you guys are looking forward to these games as much as I am. There's plenty of other big games coming out in 2015, but these are the ones that are sticking in my mind the most. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll catch you later on the channel. Later, dudes.